Good evening, everybody. My name is KevinJJohnston, Canada's biggest mouth, and I am here with special guests from the United States, Jason Lamar. Everybody who's watching the show here on TikTok, on DLive, on Rumble, YouTube, wherever it might be, I'm sure you know who I am. I am the guy that told all of you back in 2021 that there was no pandemic and spent quite a bit of time in prison for that. Totally worthwhile. Why? Because the Canadian government, along with all of the left-wing media in that country, decided to give me about $50 million worth of free advertising by calling me every name in the book. It's worked out incredibly well for me. We are here in Panama City, where after leaving the communist dump known as Canada, I have become a millionaire and I am living my best life. We're going to be talking about it a little bit to do with making money, getting rich, and being masculine here, which is the whole premise of the show. This is called The Man's Table, and tonight's episode is Masculinity Reloaded. Yes, I came across Jason Lamar here on Instagram, where he would come out and call fat people the fats and poor people the poors, and would make statements that you are fat and poor specifically and only because of you. That's right. It's all about accountability, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Jason, thank you very much for hopping on a plane and coming down here tonight.
Appreciate you having me, my friend.
Oh, man, this has been great. I've watched Jason's stuff now for about 6 months on Instagram. I highly recommend that you head over to the Jason Lamar on Instagram and all social media. Listen to everything the man's going to say. You're going to be a bit wiser for it. As for myself, I've been offending and insulting everybody on the left wing and the Canadian government for years. I have happened to agree with 100% of what Jason has said, which is why the two of us are here tonight to hopefully educate you, but mostly entertain you, because you can't learn anything unless you're one of two things: A, angry, or B, entertained. So let's get started here. We have a gentleman who's going to be reading out some questions. I put out a post for all of you to ask the top 10 to 15 questions that you wanted discussed by two hyperthyroid, hypermasculine men tonight. We're going to get those questions asked tonight. We're going to answer them. Both of us will take a crack at each one of them. Feel free to leave your comments there, and feel free to share. And by the way, on TikTok, right here, that's not enough likes. All of you, come on. 2 fingers. You know how this works. 2 fingers on the screen. Light it up. Share on all those other social media platforms. Please, guys, share. Without you sharing, people don't know that they can actually have a better life, which we're here to help you do. Let's get going. Tim, I believe you have a question for us. Go ahead.
I do. So the topic is reclaiming hypermasculinity. The media loves to label male ambition as toxic. So how do you reframe hypermasculinity not as a defect, but as an essential cure for a crumbling, mediocre society?
Jason's going to take that one first. I know he is. I'm going to sit back.
Okay, so first and foremost, the idea that masculinity is toxic is absolutely nonsensical, because all of the things that they like to blame and call toxic masculinity are not at all traits of being masculine. It's a bunch of weirdo-ass emotional shit. Like, they'll go and blame Can we say school shootings on here? Oh, fuck it, we're here now.
Yeah, okay, we're here anyway.
Abusive men and all of this shit, and call this masculine, when in all actuality this is just men who are unable to control their emotions. They just act based upon how it is that they feel, which is the exact opposite of being masculine. These are inherently feminine qualities, and when you couple feminine traits with shit that men do, which is acting out and being violent and using their strength to get what it is that they want, you get a bunch of fucked up shit like this, which is what it is that we have now, a bunch of nonsensical ass men running around acting like women. So it's not the reframing of masculinity, it's the or understanding what it is that they're talking about when they say masculinity is toxic. In no way are they talking about masculinity, because without masculinity you have nothing. You have zero values in society, you have zero morality, you have zero forward movement, you have zero anything worth having, and you have what it is that we have now, which is society crumbling as we walk around and act like this is okay.
Yeah, it's not okay to be a weak and feminine man. I'm going to tell you that right now, because weak and feminine men get nothing done.
Nothing positive.
Well, nothing. You're right. Well, yes, okay, nothing positive. Yes, they do things like help Kleenex, the Kleenex Scott's Corporation, go up in stock value because they're buying so much Kleenex to wipe their eyes. We do not need weak males being in charge of anything. We've had that now in Canada for the last 20 years, United States seemingly for the last 10 to 15. And what it's led to is an economic crash. The economy cannot function when men are not out in society doing masculine things, like working in the snow, working all night long to fix hydro towers, building buildings, building homes, building roads, or having a good think tank put together to try to find better ways to expand the economy and to expand society. We have allowed the media to tell us as men that we are awful just because we're men. And it gets sillier, folks. We're awful just because we want to have sex. Well, of course we do. We are mammals. We're no better than the animals out there, folks, okay? The only thing that separates us from the animal kingdom is written history, and we've all chosen not to learn from it. So for men out there, the biological urge to get out there and spread your seed, yeah, you know what? It's there. Do it. Why not? As for the ladies out there who want to be men, you need to understand that the feminist movement has lied to you. You're not happy when you're spending your entire day insulting a man. The question I would have for any woman out there is, how many times has your life gotten better after screaming at your man or a man for a great period of time? Of course, the answer is none, because when you browbeat a man and make him less masculine, he's bringing less money home for you. I see that a lot of men have just absolutely given up on the dating game. They are just walking away from women. They are ignoring women, and they're doing a lot more masculine things together with other men. That's actually good. But it will take a good 10 to 20 years to correct this weak male mindset. So let's have all of you start now. Strong men build strong societies. Strong men will help societies get rich. And right now, the weak are in charge of absolutely everything. In Canada, I was sentenced to 4 months in prison because I called a lawyer fat. That's right. A lawyer pursued me in the courts to get me prison time for calling him fat. Now, I appealed it and I won. And even the weak, not so masculine judges knew that this guy was dragging me through it because I insulted him. And they let it carry on. Because these weak males also themselves don't want to be called names, and they don't want to be accountable for being fat or being broke or being foolish or lazy. Guys, get out there and try stuff. You're going to fail time and time again. It doesn't matter, so long as you pick yourself up and keep trying to be as masculine as possible. Being a man is not toxic. It just isn't. It's a made-up word like poo-poo and doo-doo. It's that silly. You don't want to be around people that are going to try to browbeat you. And please, for the love of God, turn off CNN, turn off the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, turn off BBC. Turn these things off, and you're not going to hear any more about how horrible you are just because you're male.
Excellent. So, the death of the safe space. Society's currently obsessed with common feelings. How do its leaders ruthlessly eliminate the safe space mentality from organizations, and I help identify who actually deserves a seat at the table?
You know, I'll take this one if you don't mind. Almost no men in our modern society deserve a seat at the table. Almost no men in our modern society deserve to be managers or making large salaries. And the reason being is that they're just not manning up when the time calls for it. Everybody out there who knows who I am knows that I have been called every name under the sun. Does it matter that someone I don't know is calling me Islamophobic or homophobic or transphobic or racist? These things don't matter. But a lot of men out there are allowing it to affect them. So that's when they decide, I need a safe space. I'm really upset about being called these names. I'm not racist. I've got a friend who's black after all. Don't talk like that. And they'll go and play with puppies and play with coloring books at colleges and universities. It's pathetic, is what it is. Someone calls you a name, just turn around and walk away. Go to the gym. Read a book written before the left wing existed. Do these things to improve yourself. How do we get men to recognize this? Well, we need to start bringing back shaming, You know,
Yes.
and we need to start bringing back yelling at men. This is something that men can actually do, Jason. You and I disagree. We can talk about it. And then we can raise our voices about it. And then maybe throw a couple of insults. And then it can go to the floor. We roll around, punch each other a couple times. Someone separates us. And about 10 minutes later, we're having a beer because everything's okay. It's that type of solution that is sometimes necessary for all the men out there. How many men at the table here have actually been punched in the face? I mean, let's, 1, 2. Right? Like, all right. We need to punch men in the face so that they know what the consequence to a foolish action is. We haven't been doing that. We haven't been spanking our kids. We haven't been yelling at our kids. We have not been disciplining them. And we're telling them that you cannot do anything masculine like tag. It's exclusionary. Or Red Rover because someone's going to get a boo-boo. That's how we're treating men. And men are putting up with it. So the men who decide to live the weak life should never have a seat at the table. Because too many of them have a seat at the table now. And society's cooked as a result.
Yeah, 1000%. I said a little while ago that a large problem with society is that there are a lot of grown-ass men who have never been hit in the face in their entire life, and they are the ones who run around ruining everything because they're scared of any degree of confrontation or conflict or anything, and disagreement is seen as a problem, or someone speaking to you in some sort of unkind way is violence and assault and all of this other, I'm trying not to curse here, these other unsavory things. But as far as the safe space thing, I hate the concept of safe spaces. Like, if you're somebody who can't walk around hearing things that you don't like, then you have absolutely no business being in charge of anything. If you don't like certain words, if you don't like certain people saying certain things, if you have a bunch of trigger warnings and all of this nonsense because someone's going to say something that reminded you of something that happened at your 12th birthday party, then you have no business being in charge of anything because you're not even in charge of your own life or your own feelings, and that is absolutely a problem. And the solution to this is never to walk around and demand that nobody says anything that's going to rub you the wrong way or hurt your feelings or trigger you. The solution is to become somebody who is unbothered by these things. Like Kevin said, I get called names all day, every single day. People tell me that I am wrong, people tell me that I am dumb, and I care about none of it because I know what it is that I believe and I stand on every single word that I say. And we do not have any of that. People have been conditioned to back off of these things because somebody will call you racist, homophobic, transphobic, any of these other buzzwords that mean a whole bunch of absolutely nothing. And we need to get people to the point of, yes, you think that what I'm saying is racist. That's amazing. But this is still the thing that I think. You think it's homophobic. Great. Whoop-de-doo. I still think this thing, though. Do with that what it is that you will. But nobody is willing to stand up for their beliefs. Nobody is willing to stand on their word. Nobody is willing to stand up for anything. And they get ran over by all of these. I'm not a big left-right person, but they get ran over by all of this liberal nonsense with all of these terms that they have in PC. Everyone needs to have their feelings cared for and all of this. And it's nothing. It gets nobody anywhere, and all it does is stop any degree of actual progress because, again, disagreement is demonized. And that is how we grow and progress in the world, is resolving conflicts. That's how you grow in any area of your life, right? Like, if you want to get stronger, you want to get in better shape, you go to the gym. That is a conflict that you are resolving. Same thing with business, same thing with making money, same thing with international and or domestic relations. It's all your ability to encounter and resolve conflict like a man instead of like the bitches that we have running around the world today. Excuse my language.
No, that's good because what really drew me to Jason's Instagram channel is he came out, he made this one video scolding weak men saying, the way of the bitch is to cry. The way of the bitch is to hide from society. The way of the bitch is not to fix yourself up. He's right.
To blame people for your problems.
Yeah, guys, stop crying. Go to the gym. Just start with that. If anything, for all the weak men out there, just go to the gym, give it a try. You might actually like it.
Wake up early and work out, 1000%. If you can't get up when your alarm clock goes off, then you can't do anything else in life.
True story. What do you got next, Tim?
Testosterone as a business asset. So the modern environment is chemically and psychologically castrating men. Why do you view high testosterone and physical fitness not just as health metrics, but as a form of chemical warfare against a passive competition?
You got this one.
So I read about an experiment a little while ago. It's called the Ash Conformity Experiment. So basically what it is that they would have a bunch of people come into a room and they would show them lines and they would ask everybody which lines were longer. But the majority of people that were there in the experiment were part of the control. So the majority of the people there would say that the shorter lines were longer. And by the time they got to the people at the end who were actually part of the experiment, didn't know what it is that they were being asked, they would agree with the people who said that the shorter lines were longer. And they found that the people who have lower testosterone were more likely to be agreeable and compliant and go along with these things, which is why they encourage you to do a bunch of low testosterone activity, because what they want is everyone to be compliant and agreeable. So when they pop up and say things like, you must put on this mask, then everyone will say okay and do it. When they say you cannot leave your house, everyone will say okay and do it. When they say take all of these shots or call that dude a woman, then everyone will just say okay and do it and go along with things, because high testosterone is, or someone with high testosterone is somebody who goes against the grain and challenges what it is that they are told. This is why people who are physically fit are far more trustworthy than people who are not, because you know that they are disciplined, you know that they are committed to things, you know that they are able to delay gratification, and they are able to do hard things now in favor of getting good things later, and they are not just doing whatever it is that makes them feel good in the moment.
I'm going to have to say also, there's a lot of social conditioning here, and I don't know why people fall for it. Like, compare 80s action movies, guys. There's a big one there. Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers, Jean-Claude Van Damme, lots of muscle, six-pack abs, glistening skin, covered in oil. They look great. But also you believe that they are action stars. Now we look at our action stars. So this Tom Holland guy, for example, Spider-Man. He's this tall, he's this thin, and I think he bench presses about 10 pounds in real life. You notice how all the action stars are skinny, little, effeminate boys. There's no men out there being, we're not portraying big men, strong men as the heroes. We're portraying these weak guys who have, in these Hollywood stories, video game fetishes or silly things like Lego. Spider-Man played with Lego in the last Spider-Man movie. So come on. We are showing men that, yeah, you can be a hero and still not work out, play with Lego, play with action figures, be a child. We are telling men out there to be children permanently. And the men out there who succeed are the ones who can identify the fact that this is actually a control mechanism young. If you are looking at the world when you're 17, 18, and so on, and it doesn't seem to make sense to you the way the world actually is, then you're probably quite awake. So do what Jason said, hit the gym and ignore all the stupid crap you're being told. Everyone is going to tell you not to do something. I was even told by a business partner not to start my tax business up because he made the stupid excuse that I might upset the wrong guy in the wrong biker gang and get shot. He was trying to get me to keep working for him for a very low salary. That's all that it was. I didn't fall for it, and neither should any of you. So kids, if you're under the age of 25 right now and you're watching this, I'm 54 years of age. I'm going to tell you this. Get the hell away from high school. Stay away from the colleges and the universities, because they are teaching you that masculinity is bad. They are teaching you that women are stronger, faster, and better than you, that you should listen to everything that women have to say because reasons. And that's it. It's reasons, which is
Reasons and feelings.
Yeah, reasons and feelings. And that's not a reason, guys. It's not realistic. It's not going to help you. So I'm asking the young guys out there, stop watching these superhero movies. Stop reading these crap comic books. Stop watching Netflix and Hulu. It's not helping you in any way. Start finding out what hyper-masculine activities are and do them. And if you don't know what those activities are, utilize ChatGPT or Perplexity and say, hello, computer, I'm feeling a bit weak and slow today. What was considered masculine in 1977? It'll tell you, and then do it. Tim, you're up.
Financial aggression. So most men play defense, terrified of the taxman and obsessed with saving pennies. How do you shift the men's psychology from a scarcity mindset to one of financial aggression, where the only metric that matters is making money?
You want this one?
You got the tax thing, man.
Okay, all right. I'll take this one first. All right. As a tax expert, we've done probably about 1,000 consultations in the last year and a half. There is a legitimate fear that almost everybody has in society that if I don't do my taxes properly, I'm going to jail. It's the most common thing that everybody says. I don't want to go to jail. Are you sure the way you do taxes is legal? Because I don't want to go to jail. Now, I have to ask the logical question. How is it that you think that you can go from a piece of paper on your desk to prison in the same day? Because everyone thinks they're going in the same day. Do you know what due process is? You know that you have to be accused of a crime, arrested, taken in, booked, you get your fingerprints done, you get a bail hearing, you get bail, you talk to a lawyer, you've got a preliminary hearing, then you've got a plea date where you say not guilty, then you've got a trial date 2 or 3 years down the road. You're not in jail this whole time. But then I also ask is, which criminal charge would you be talking about here that's going to get you from doing taxes to prison in a day? And nobody knows. And the big problem here for everybody is they don't know the law. Nobody is reading the Income Tax Act or the Excise Tax Act or the International Commerce Act or whatever acts out there might actually be governing your decision-making process and governing your life. You need to know the law. The reason I don't fear the law, people, is because I've been studying it for 40 years. I took an interest in it when I was 13 when the Canada Revenue Agency screwed my parents over and took away a third of their wealth. I got angry, I started learning. That doesn't make me a better human being than you. I'm just bringing that up as a point that you should be interested in how the society that you live in actually functions. Now, it's not what can you get away with, it's what will not put me in prison because it's legal. And then you do that to the best of your ability. You do that with absolute vigor. Pump iron so you got your testosterone levels up, and then start making cold calls. Start taking an interest in your own business life and forget what everybody says. Ignore the insults. Forget mom and dad who say, no, don't form a business, get a real job. Ignore all that nonsense. Please, folks, learn a little bit about the law. You are afraid because you don't know. Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is hell on earth. I see this all the time when grown men are crying in the chat room about taxes. Now, I put their minds at rest because I will show them various clauses in tax rules, not even laws, just tax rules. But there's only so many people that I can communicate with, given the fact that I've been taken off of every platform 1,000 times, right? So I want all of you to start to study what it is you are actually afraid of. And I'll leave you with this proverb that I wrote. When you make a decision based on fear, it is 100% wrong 100% of the time. You'll screw your life up if you don't know what you're talking about. You'll screw your life up if you're afraid to make mistakes. But if you know the law and the rules of society, then you're not going to be afraid any longer.
So I don't have a great deal about the tax code and all of that shit, but as far as the scarcity mindset goes, you are always going to get exactly what it is that you focus on. So if you're not willing to take any risks, you're never going to get any sort of big reward. If you want to get truly strong, then you're going to have to lift weights that could injure you. And if you want to make any true money, then you're going to have to risk losing money. If you want to do anything in life, then you have to risk failing and failing large. Like the more that you want to accomplish, the more that you have to risk. That's just how it is that it works. There is no such thing as a safe path to anything worth having. And as long as you have the mindset of trying to avoid any degree of risk or any degree of downside, that you're also going to limit your upside. You're just going to shortchange yourself in whatever it is that you do because you are afraid of failing, which ironically makes you a failure, because the only true failure in life is to either not try and or give up. But it's never doing something and it not working out is not you failing. That is just you learning how it is that you should move forward and what it is that you need to do in order to succeed. Everybody who has done anything that matters has taken a big ass risk and has lost a bunch of shit. People lose a bunch of money. People go to jail. That's just fucking life. That's how it is. Excuse me. Again, trying to avoid the curse words, but whatever. That's just how everything works. Whenever you want to accomplish anything, you have to risk some things. There's no way to avoid that. And the sooner that you make peace with that, the better off that you will be in life.
I'll just add one more thing to that. For the guys out there who have tried and failed, you got to understand this. Even though I am a millionaire now, I did not become one until I was 54 years of age. Now, I tried and I failed, tried and failed, tried and failed. Had a bankruptcy, lost everything, I'd say 3 different times in this lifetime. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, start over. Failure is something you'll learn from. Now I know how not to lose money. Now I know that you're not supposed to trust girlfriends and chicks with your cash. Now I know that you shouldn't buy stolen property. There are mistakes that I made as a young man and as a, I guess we'll call it pre-middle-aged man, that I'm simply not going to repeat. I admire myself for the failures. I'm glad those failures happened. Don't give up, guys. Trudge forward.
So both excellent responses. Next topic, your inner circle. They say, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. What is your specific criteria for ruthlessly culling your inner circle? And when you know it's time to cut a long-time friend loose?
Jason's got this one because you brought this up before.
So my process is very, very, very simple. I do not associate with anybody who is undisciplined. I do not associate with liars. I do not associate with procrastinators or excuse makers or any of that shit. And because anybody who is not actively adding to your life, anyone who is not bettering you is making you worse. They are holding you back. There is no in between. There is no such thing as a neutral. And people like to make excuses for people because they've known them for a long time or their family or whatever the fucking case may be. But at the end of the day, all of those people will wind up holding you back. Somebody doesn't believe in you. Somebody tells you that you can't do some shit. Somebody is always telling you to be more careful or questioning what it is that you want to do, then they have absolutely no business around you. And that's not saying that people can't be sitting there trying to look out for you, but there's a very big difference in trying to help you get to where it is that you want to do and trying to talk you out of doing something because they're worried about you or any of that other nonsense. So anybody who is not working on bettering themselves as well, I do not associate with, because once again, if you're not bettering yourself, you can't help me get better. And if you can't help me get better, then you are actively making me worse, and I do not participate in any of that shit. I do not give a fuck how long we have known each other. I do not care what it is that our relationship is. If you are not willing to fix that, then we do not need to associate.
It's a pretty good answer. Now, I've actually made the mistakes that Jason has just mentioned here, where I don't want to give up on someone because I've known them for a long period of time. I think it kind of hit me around age 48, 49, that those out there that you try to improve, if you're trying to pull them with you to come forward and they resist it, that as soon as they do not do something that's better for themselves that you are suggesting to help them catch up to you, cut. That's when you got to make that cut. The idea here in life, guys, is you got to go forward. The only way to truly be a gentleman, for example, that I love this saying, is to be better than your former self. And there are those out there who never want to be better than their former self. They want to remain 24 mentally for the rest of their lives, or 16, or they hit 40 and they stopped. Someone who is holding you back is easy to identify once you make the decision that you want to be better than everyone you know. And that is when you have to look at everybody who's going to cost you time, money, aggravation. Cut them. Just cut them. Move on. I agree with something Jason said. I'm at the point now in life where I don't actually have friends, where I say I'm going to call my friend and talk about something bothering me. I have business associates. I've got business compadres, comrades, if you will. Now, I prefer it that way because anybody that I'm hanging around with in the business world also wants to make money. Now, at this age, I finally learned all the lessons I had to at 54 to surround myself only with those who are either A, richer than myself, or B, are looking at me and want to be as rich as me or surpass me. That's absolutely who I'm going to spend all my time with.
Just to add on to that real quick, what Kevin said in the beginning, they teach lifeguards that whenever you go out to save somebody, if the person flailing in the water is not cooperating, then you leave them there. Because if they are not open to your assistance, then they are going to drown you right along with them. And a lot of people, again, like he said, I have done the same thing, is trying to encourage people to be better who had no interest in it in bettering themselves, and that's just going to hold you down far before you will ever pull them up. Like, you gotta think, if you're climbing up something, right? It's much easier for someone to pull you down than it is to pull somebody up if they're not willing to participate in it themselves.
Yeah, the old adage of the bucket of Canadian lobsters on the East Coast, where one lobster's getting out of the bucket who's been caught, and someone says, hey, that lobster's getting away, and you have a look at it and say, oh, that's a box of Canadian lobsters. The rest will just pull them back down. Right? Stay away from people like that.
All right, next topic, the thought criminal advantage. Because we're reversing a lot of things that are prevalent in society right now, let's talk about being a thought criminal and the advantage of it. So to be a thought criminal is to reject the mainstream narrative. What is the most dangerous truth you've spoken recently that the mainstream media hates?
Yeah, okay, we'll take this one. The obvious answer is in 2021, when I was running for mayor of Calgary, I got to be careful because social media is going to censor this. But I said that there was no, during that whole pandemic time, which absolutely just lit up half of society. Half the population was on my side and half wanted me dead for what I was saying. I also, when I was making these statements, I made a very brazen statement that because there is no you-know-what, that when I am mayor of the city of Calgary, I'm going to send the SWAT guys out to go and arrest everybody who made the decisions to force us to wear masks and take needles that we don't need. So what had happened there, the backlash, was an immediate warrant for my arrest, to which that was done just 2 hours after my show. And the next day they picked me up and locked me up for 3 days. I got bail, I got out, and then they threw so many bail conditions on me that I essentially couldn't even breathe or fart without their permission. It was actually pretty ridiculous. And they, of course, saw something wrong with something that I said and put me right back in. That is something that I said that society didn't like. And there's been other times where I've talked at length about the fact that multiculturalism is an absolutely horrendous idea. It destroyed the Peloponnesians. It destroyed the Romans. Because the Romans, whenever they would conquer any civilization, they instantly gave citizenship to everyone they conquered. And we were talking clans. 10 clans within a square kilometer of each other would all have a different language and different religions and different viewpoints. You can't merge different ideas in the same society and have that society function. That's the example that I gave. Well, guess who knocked on my door after I gave that example and stated that a homogenized society, like Panama here, is a much better one. It's going to be more successful economically and family-wise, and just in general, life-wise. Yes, Calgary police knocked on my door. Of course, I had the door open this much with the chain lock on it, and I had to endure about a 10-minute lecture from left-wing cops explaining to me that I had no right to say the things that I was saying, and that Clause 1 of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms stated that they could lecture me on this, and I should watch what I say. It's a horrendous document, everybody, the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, because Clause 1 negates your rights. All the rights that follow it are negated by Clause 1, which gives cops what they think the right to tell you that you cannot say any of these things in Canadian society. The United Kingdom, Australia, and New Zealand have followed that exact model, where everything now is an arrestable offense. 26,000 people were arrested this year so far in the United Kingdom for putting mean things on social media. It's a bad idea to police speech. And it's a bad idea to not allow the citizens who are being screwed over by their government to not be allowed to speak about it. Why? Because the only end result that could ever come of it is a violent overthrow of the government. It's going to happen. Mark my word.
I agree with this. But I haven't actually said anything that the government has come to my door for as of yet. Now, I do say a lot of things that people agree with, but I will go with really just my overall take on accountability. Like, society nowadays gives people excuses for everything, be that mental health, be that addiction, be that being overweight, be that being broke, whatever the case may be. And I am opposed to absolutely all of that. I do not believe in depression as a disorder. I do not believe in addiction as a disease or obesity. I say all of the time, everything that you do, every single place that you are is a result of your own actions. It is not your race. It is not your genetics, your thyroid, or any of this other dumb shit. It is something that you have chosen to do. If you are depressed, it is because you do depressing shit. If you are poor, it's because you act like a fucking poor person. And that is, again, counter to what it is that society tells everybody. Nothing is your fault. Everything is on somebody else. You need somebody else to come and fix your problems or to come save you. Or if you're falling short of something, you have something to blame and you should not feel bad about it. And I aggressively disagree with every single one of those things. If you are falling short of where it is that you want to be and who it is that you want to be, it is entirely your fucking fault. You should feel bad about it because you are a fuck up and you are a failure. But you can also fix that if you start doing better things. If you stop running around acting like a dickhead, then you won't have the life of a dickhead. Once again, excuse me, I apologize. I'm trying not to curse here, and I'm failing at that. But that is also my own choice, just like everyone else's failures are their own choice. So this is my thought crime thing for the question.
Well, I understand that you got suspended on Instagram.
Yeah. So Instagram kicked me off of live for a year because I said if your life sucks, you should kill yourself. This was a metaphor. This was not actual advice, but they did not like my metaphor, so they took me down.
Actually, I used a very similar metaphor in my hometown, the city of Mississauga, to which the Peel Regional Police, those guys, they showed up to indicate to me that there was a survey or some kind of petition online that got 30,000 signatures to have me arrested for using that same type of speech. Now, the guy said that they can't arrest me because a petition by high school kids is not grounds for arrest. But then he screams at me, "But watch yourself!" What do you say to that, right? Am I going to fight with this guy? Thank you, officer. I appreciate it. Have a good night. Yeah, so, guys, everyone knows I've said a lot of stuff that the Canadian government is after me for. Jason, the stuff you've said, you would have been arrested equally as many times as me if you were in Canada or the United Kingdom. I've had 22 arrests just for talking in Canada. You probably have the same number. That's just how it is. So you have to go, people, where you're treated best. I salute you for being in the States, and I say continue staying there, at least for now, unless the Democrats take over. But as for me, I'm done with Canada. I cannot get a corporation to run in Canada. I can't say anything in Canada. I even was thinking about getting back into stand-up comedy. And I wrote my first 10 minutes of a script, sent it to my criminal lawyer, who's calling me up, laughing on the phone. He says, "This is great stuff." Then he asks, "Wait a minute, whoa, did you say this in public yet?" No, you're reading the first draft. Why? Because if you do, being who you are, they'll arrest you before you're done the set. Now, how ridiculous is your country when you have to clear a stand-up comedy routine with a criminal lawyer before you even speak it in public? Yeah, I'm done with Canada, guys. I'm done.
So this topic is about being dangerous versus harmless. We talk about being capable of violence. Why is a harmless man actually useless to his family and business? And how does physical lethality translate into boardroom confidence?
I'll take this one at the beginning here. All right, listen up, guys. There's a lot of weak men out there who say that they are pious and they've got the moral high ground because they don't fight. They don't fight because they can't fight. And when I say fight, I don't just mean a fist fight. I'm talking win an argument. I'm talking direct people towards getting the proper tasks done that need to be done. You're not pious and you're not moral if you are weak and you behave weak. The guys that I like are the ones that can take my head and twist it backwards with their bare hands, but don't. That's somebody who has a moral stance. That's someone whose moral barometer is one that I can line up with. Anybody in the room right now could walk up to a 5-year-old, pick them up and slam them down on the ground, ending their lives. But we don't. That's the type of individual I'll trust. I will never trust a weak man because they probably do want to harm me in some way, and they don't know how to even enter into a debate or a conversation with me. That's the kind of guy that starts bad-mouthing you on social media. That's the kind of guy that puts a knife in your back. weak men and weak women, there are many of those out there, are not the type of individuals I want to have in my life, period. I want strong men who can kill me with their bare hands in my life, because I understand that my life will be better and I can trust them a whole lot more.
So, in life as a whole, things only really count for something if they are a choice that you are making. For example, you are not faithful to your wife if no other women want you. Just like you are not a pacifist if you are not capable of violence. You are just a pussy. You are only things if you are choosing, if you have the ability to do something and choose not to do it. If you could go get a bunch of other women and you choose not to, then you are a faithful man. If you could beat up the person across the table from you because they disagree with you, but you would choose to engage in some sort of debate, then you are a peaceful man. So you need to make yourself into the type of person who opts not to do things. And when you are capable of violence, when you're capable of physicality, when you are a strong individual, that gives you confidence because you know that you have multiple options in any situation that you involve yourself in. The vast majority of people do not. They are at the whims of the other person and whoever is willing to be a little bit more aggressive or whatnot. And they just go along with it, go along with the flow. This is why so many people have a thing of just placating people or are yes men or just agree with stuff because they know that they can't handle what might happen if they say no. Because at the end of the day, any interaction you have with somebody has the possibility of devolving into violence. You can't control other people. And if you're not somebody who is comfortable with that, then you are somebody who is always going to be beholden to the whims and the wills of other people because you are not willing to, or you know that you are not capable of defending your position, defending your stance, defending whatever the fuck it is that you have going on. So you need to work on these things so that you can be somebody who chooses not to do them, but knows that you are capable of doing them. And that way you can be fully yourself and do fully what it is that you believe to be right in any situation that you are in.
All right, to add to that, this is one of the problems that we have here is that there's a lot of males being brought up by single mothers. And ladies, God bless you for being able to carry a child to term. And I watched both my kids being born, and it's a miracle to watch. It's a beautiful thing. But you're raising a whole bunch of weak males who think that they are pious because they're just following your lead. They need a strong man in their lives to be able to guide them towards becoming what Jason said here, and that is capable of violence but choosing not to engage in it. And my father gave me the wrongest possible lessons. When I think about the speech I got when I was about 12 years of age, don't be an individual, don't have a different haircut, don't stand out in a crowd, never rock the boat, do what the government says and your life is going to be fine, you'll never have turmoil. And he ended up dead at 67 of cancer, ended up living an entire life exactly like Archie Bunker, look that up for the young people out there, who would come home, watch TV, and achieve absolutely nothing. By the time he got to the last year of his life, he had exactly the same assets and exactly the same amount of money in the bank that he did 30 years earlier. It's the worst advice anybody can give. I'm going to tell you all, be an individual, rock the boat. If someone is lying to you, call them out on it. If you've got that ridiculous relative who doesn't shut up at the dinner table, publicly humiliate them at the table. Tell them, we're tired of hearing from you. Right? Everything that comes out of your mouth is nonsense. Nobody here likes you. Please shut up so we can all eat in peace. There is nothing wrong with trying something different, guys. Call people out on their crap. Stand out. Be an individual. Just don't break criminal law and you're going to be fine.
Yeah, 1000%. Do what it is that you want to do and be who it is that you know that you should be regardless.
All right, this topic is about building walls. A weak man protects nothing. What are the specific walls, legal, financial, and physical, that every man in this room needs to build immediately to ensure their legacy against attack?
I think I'm going to let Jason try this one first.
I'm imagining this as a metaphor of sorts. What are the walls that everyone... I mean, I'm just answering based off of my interpretation of this currently at the moment. But you should have some degree of financial freedom. You should have some money that you make that you are in charge of that cannot be taken away by the government being mad at you or somebody getting upset about some shit that you have done. And you should be in good physical and mental shape so that you are prepared to handle any sort of conflict. And this is not to say some sort of like war or some sort of Rambo fight or some shit like that. But when things arise, you need to be mentally tough in order to be able to get through them and to be able to weather the storms. And again, this is based purely off of my interpretation of this wall thing.
All right. Building the wall. I'm a father of two, and I did lose a child, and I can tell you that was soul-crushing for years. It took a long time to recover from that one. And as a wartime journalist, I was in some pretty awful places like Eritrea, Ethiopia, Nigeria, and I was in South Thailand, where the gangs of a select religion were slaughtering people en masse. Plus, I was also in Myanmar, where gangs of a select religion were also slaughtering people en masse. It is very difficult. It's a very difficult thing to look at dead children lying down in the jungle, where you can see their fathers' bodies are over top of them, with bullet holes in their backs. That, I guess, could be an answer, a direct answer to your question. It is our job as men to protect everything that we have built for ourselves. Family first. I mean, I'll let you burn my car and house down to the ground, but I'll absolutely not let you harm my family. I saw this for myself, and it changed me forever. I really do think that every single day I view as a gift now, having seen as much carnage as I have. And for the men in those war zones who tried their very best to take all the bullets in their bodies to protect their family, I salute them forever. So, guys, build up a life for you and protect it. But I think the most important thing that all of you out there need to protect is your reputation. You need to first build one. You've got to be the best at something. You have to be better than 95% of society at something. And then you have to protect that reputation with your life if need be. Because once your reputation is broken, you're never going to get it back. If you've got a reputation for something, you have to live according to that reputation. There you are.
So maybe let's talk a little bit more about building a financial wall.
Okay, a financial wall. I know where you're going with this, Tim, and I'll go ahead and talk a bit about taxes here. I know it's not Jason's fort. That word is not pronounced forte, it's fort. But that's all right. In North America, you have to protect what you have by understanding a bit about tax code and a bit about tax law and so on. Example, if you own a house, never mind the rules on not paying a capital gain on your primary residence. Forget that nonsense, because if you own a house in your own name and you get sued, you can lose that house. Or if you own a house and you knock up the wrong girl, she can take half of it from you. But if that house is protected in a numbered corporation, which can act as a trust, and you're not the director of that corporation, then you have full protection of that property. You could also make sure that you write really good corporate bylaws to ensure that if you die or you get divorced or your lady cheats on you, that all the shares go to someone else, like your next of kin, your kids, brothers, sisters, moms, dads, whoever it might be. You need to be very smart about your finances. And I'll go one step further. You can be this smart as well. If you're Canadian, why not head down to Wyoming, register yourself a $95 corporation there, register your vehicle's license plate in that corporation in Wyoming, and then drive a Wyoming-plated car all over Canada. Why would I suggest that? Because for those of you in the province of Ontario, you've got that Highway 407, the most expensive toll road in the world. So you want to drive this thing up and down every single day. It's going to cost you $10,000 a month to do it. But if it's an American license plate in an American corporation, how are they going to collect that? There's speed traps and photo radar all over Canada, especially Calgary's got it on every third street. If you've protected yourself by having a license plate from a different province or in a corporation, they cannot collect that money. So you can get away with speeding. Don't speed, by the way, it's a crime, but you can get away with these things more so. Why is it that we are paying in Canada up to 73% tax on everything that we have? Then we have to pay a toll to drive on roads that our tax dollars supposedly have built for us. No, protect yourself. Don't pay tolls by making sure that your license plate goes to the States. That's motorcycles and cars. register your boat. If you're a Canadian that owns a boat, flag it in Panama, flag it in Greece, flag it somewhere else so you're not paying exorbitant taxes. Understand the tax code of whatever country you live in, and then make sure you protect yourself by doing everything to not pay tax legally.
Okay, so this topic is about aesthetic excellence. So we see men in pajamas and buns everywhere now. Can you explain the ROI of aesthetic excellence?
I'm going to let Mr. Style here take that one first.
The men in pajamas shit threw me off. That's fucking hilarious. So people have this saying that it's what's on the inside that counts. And I think that's the dumbest shit ever, because your outside is a reflection of your inside. Like how you choose to cut your hair, what it is that you choose to wear, all says something about who it is that you are. Like if you're walking around with dreadlocks or your whole entire face tattooed with alligators or something, this is a reflection of who you are on the inside. When you're outside running around in pajamas and whatever else the case may be, this is a reflection of who it is that you are. So it is important to, not everyone has to be some, fancy ass French, Italian stylist person, but you should put some care into what it is that you wear and how it is that you look, because regardless of what people will tell you, people are going to judge you based on how it is that you appear, and they should, because that matters and that's a reflection of you. So you should put your best foot forward in all avenues. This is why it's important to be shaved. This is why it's important to be put together and not walk around all unkempt and raggedy looking, because you are going to get exactly that type of treatment back. Because you look like a bum, you're going to get treated like a bum. There's always these people who run around with their weird, ridiculous ear gauges and crazy ass haircuts and then wonder, well, they're discriminating against me. They're not discriminating against you. You look like a dickhead and they're treating you as such. That is your fault. So all of these things do in fact matter. So don't ever let anybody tell you the whole it's shallow or anything like that. It is not. Looks are important. Yes, you can't control specifically your face, but you can control that you are put together. And if you want people to take you seriously, then you need to look serious. And despite what all of the woke people want to sit there and run around talking about, there is actually a look that says I am serious.
All right, and I want to tell the young men especially out there how important what Jason said really is. Yeah, you can't look like a bum and be treated like a businessman. It's just not going to happen. Now, my favorite story ever to tell is my grade 10 math teacher, Mr. Bracco. He was this really good-looking Italian guy, the olive-colored skin, the slick-back hair. He had that true Italian attitude. He'd walk in wearing the best suits and ties, great shoes, and he'd be yelling at us, okay, everyone, sit down, shut up, we got some math to do here. Kevin, what are you sitting over here for? Your seat's over there, go sit over there. That's how he would talk. And we loved him for it, because he was rough and tumble, but he got us to be interested in math. Well, one day Mr. Bracco got sick, and we had a supply teacher. And this supply teacher walks in looking like Tammy Faye Baker. For those of us who are over 50, you all recognize that name and face. For those who don't know what that means, imagine a short, plump woman, about 5'2", with a nasty facial expression and about 6 inches of makeup caked all over her face. This woman had a hairdo where it looked like she had given up. In the 70s and 80s, folks, there were some women, white women especially, they would sleep with hair colors, right? And they'd have this white afro, if you would. It looked ridiculous. They were not feminine dressed like that or wearing their hair like that, but this is what they would do. So this woman's also got these long earrings. She looked like an idiot. And a horizontal striped sweater that made her look 4 times wider than she really was. And she yells out, okay, class, sit down. Turns around to the blackboard, and she can't even lift her hand because there's so much fat in the shoulders here. And she writes it down. I am Mrs. Bracco. Yes, I'm Mr. Bracco's wife. Wow. So, all of a sudden, we're looking around like this. We figured Mr. Bracco was such a cool guy that he'd have a perfect 36 woman hanging off his arm who was gorgeous and worshiped the ground that he walked on. No, this is what he chose to marry and then attach his name to. And she was a miserable human being. We all lost respect for him. All of us, that's it. We had no more respect for Mr. Bracco. Didn't like him anymore. So he'd come in pulling that nonsense of, go sit over there. No. That's it, because we lost respect. It is very easy to have people lose respect for you when you are slovenly or excessively casual, wearing pajamas in public. It is possible if the mate that you choose does not compliment you and your image. Mr. Bracco looked great. His wife looked like, I don't know, a tank. So you'll lose respect that way. And I know that the ladies don't like it when I say this. I don't care. I would never be seen in public with a chunky lady, period. My women are always fit and beautiful. They take care of themselves because it does reflect on me. I cannot walk around and be treated like an equal or treated better than an equal by other men if the men look at the woman that I'm with and say, man, Kevin's desperate. He sucks. I'm not going to do business with this guy. He's a loser. I thought Johnston was a lot better than that. Also, guys, girls, ladies and gentlemen, I certainly will not be on stage here wearing shorts so you can see my bruises right here and some t-shirt with a middle finger or some dumb slogan on it. I certainly will not have a septum ring right here, and I'm not going to cover my face in tattoos to show you my flair, because it's really important that you know who I am on the inside. No, it's not. It's not important at all. What matters is the image that I portray to you. A masculine man who gets shit done. I cannot do any of that dressed like a fool.
So let's talk about emotional discipline. So business is war. How do you train yourself to strip away emotional responses in high-stakes negotiation and replace I feel with I will?
I say I will. I don't feel anything. I don't think anything. I don't particularly care about my own feelings. I don't care about your feelings. I don't care about my own feelings. Period. It took a long time, folks. Jason, I'm sure you've got some commentary on this as well, but it did take a long time to go from reacting emotionally with the like Scooby-Doo, ooh, to just looking at everything as if it's all the same thing. I'd say by the time I got to about 40, I was able to look at an explosion, a fist fight, a cup of coffee, and a cute kitten all the same way. And that's exactly what you do need to do. Best example I can give you, there was this loser judge who, during my mayor campaign, decided to scream, yell, and shout at me on YouTube, to which about 500,000 people were watching me being berated by this overweight judge with a big sloppy beard who didn't like my politics. And what he does, he comes out and tells the world that while I'm running for mayor of Calgary, that I now must spend 18 months in prison for contempt of court. I just sat there, deadpan expression, and when court was over, I said, "Thank you, Your Honor," and turned off my camera because I was in Calgary and he was in Toronto at the time. And then my lawyer calls me up laughing the next day. He says, "That judge is freaking pissed." Oh yeah, why? Well, because he was expecting you to break down and cry. He was expecting a reaction from you. And you just sat there thinking, okay, good. Well, tell him I said F you. All right, what else can we say here? Now, we of course appealed that, and that appeal comes up sometime next year. You can irritate the living hell out of even your worst enemy by just keeping the same facial expression on and behaving like nothing is wrong. And I know you ladies out there, it's difficult for you to watch fist fights and listen to people scream and yell. You take it in and you react. Your emotional reactions are kind of reflecting what you're seeing. Men, we do not have the luxury of doing that. Everything must be us calm and cool and collected. If a good friend of yours yells at you, just ask, "Want to talk about it? Let me get you a beer." Don't react in any way that seems like you are bothered by it, period. So in the boardroom, it doesn't matter what's being said to you, just take it with a grain of salt. And if you are being offered a deal that you don't like, just stand up in the middle of a sentence. "Gentlemen, let me think about it." Walk out the door and be prepared to walk the hell away from that deal. Because if you are getting aggravated it means the deal's not going your way, the conversation's not going your way. Stand up, remove yourself from the situation so they know that you're not a sucker. You're someone who just doesn't care. Walk out the door, try again. That is what we need to do as men. Zero emotional reactions. Unless, of course, you're dealing with your own children, then you always want to be happy and react to everything that they do in a positive light. Beyond that, if it's not a kid under 12, turn it off.
This is wildly specific, but I'm here for it. So every single day, I wake up at 3:53 a.m. Does not matter how long I was awake. Does not matter what it is that I have going on. Doesn't matter if I'm sick. Doesn't matter if I am healthy. And people will ask me, aren't you tired? And my answer is always, maybe, I don't know. I do not think about how it is that I feel about this. Much like I do not eat throughout the day. I do not think about whether or not I am hungry. I go to the gym every single day. I do not think about whether or not I am motivated or whether or not I feel like it. One of the biggest lies that they tell people is how you feel matters in relation to anything real. It absolutely does not. What needs to be done is what needs to be done regardless of how it is that you are feeling on the inside. The steps to accomplishing something are the steps to accomplishing something, regardless of how it is that you feel about any of them. And sitting there thinking about this, how does this make me feel? Am I upset? Am I happy? Am I whatever the case may be? This only makes these things more difficult for you. Because at the end of the day, if you want to accomplish a thing, you need to do the things. And if you're not going to do the things, whatever your excuse might be, then you're just not going to get the things. And that is life, and that will always be life. How you feel about something has absolutely no bearing on anything other than how it is that you feel about the thing. That's literally the only thing that is affected by it. Now, people also have this belief that some things are blanketly good and or bad, and that is absolutely not true. There is no such thing as positive. There is no such thing as negative. There are only things. Beyond that, any value that you assign to something is entirely up to you. And while it is that you maybe not, or maybe you cannot directly control how it is that you feel, but how it is that you feel about things is based on how it is that you view things. So when you decide things are bad, when you decide that it's bad to be sick, or it's bad when people die, or it's bad to be hungry, or whatever the case may be, that just makes these things much harder to deal with. But if you go and assign a neutral and or positive value to everything, then you will find that very rarely do you ever have to deal with unpleasant feelings. I'm not saying that I'm never sad, but very rarely am I sad about anything, because I do not assign negative values to anything that might occur. I could get in a car accident tomorrow, and because there's nothing that I can do about it, this is now a good thing. I am happy that I got into this car accident because my car has been crashed, whether I cry or smile about it. So why have a crashed car and be sad? That's absolutely ridiculous, and it is a waste of your time. It is just giving you extra problems to solve, because now you got to fix your car and you got to fix your mood, even though your mood doesn't mean a motherfucking thing. So anyone running around trying to figure out how it is that you cope with feelings, that is the absolute biggest waste of time ever. At the end of the day, all that is going to matter is what it is that you do. And you are capable of doing things regardless of how you feel about things. You don't need to be happy to go to the gym. You don't need to be in a good mood to go to work. You don't need to be motivated to get your tasks done. You don't need to be full to stop eating, and you don't need to be well rested to get up. When a thing pops up that you need to do, all you need to do is do it. So just fucking do it. Everything else is a whole bunch of pointless nonsense.
But Jason, you have no empathy. Oh my God.
See, I hate this fucking empathy thing, because here's the problem. If I, like, empathy, they say, right, is you putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. If I'm putting myself in your shoes, then I understand that you are where you are because you are a fuck up, and therefore I do not feel bad for you and or myself, because I know that if I'm dealing with what you're dealing with, it's because I have fucked it up, and that was my own choice. Why would I feel bad for myself for choices that I made? You wanted these things. That's why you made the choices to get them. You chose to do these things. You chose to be fat. You chose to be poor. You chose to be depressed. You chose to be an addict. You chose to be whatever it is. These were all your conscious choices, so you got exactly what it is that you showed the universe that you wanted. There is absolutely nothing to feel bad for. So fuck your empathy. If you want better, do better. If not, you don't get it. Such is life.
But Jason, you have no compassion. Jay.
See, here's the thing. I am the most compassionate motherfucker in the world, because it is somebody who does not care about you who will say it's okay that you are where it is that you are. It's okay that you're broke because of society and your parents. It's okay that you're an addict because your dad drank, because they don't actually care about you. I want you to get better. So I will tell you, you are a dipshit who started doing cocaine and that's why you are addicted to it. Stop doing fucking cocaine and you will be much better off. That is me caring about you. That is me being compassionate about you. The other shit, what everyone else talks about is enabling. People have confused these things.
God, you're so heartless, Jason. My God. This is the stuff I've heard, by the way. I was married a long time and dated a few ladies out there. I'm told I don't have empathy. And no, it's not that I don't have empathy. It's I don't have sympathy and I don't give a crap. You want to sit there and tell me that I'm wrong for something? Well, too bad for you. And you want to sit there and waste my time with your feelings? I'm going to have to decline to be a part of it because there's money to make, guys. And I can't make money if I'm concerned about someone else's feelings. Accuse me of whatever you like. I do agree this is a very compassionate man. I'll say that I'm probably not as compassionate as Jason because I'm a little older and a little more frustrated with human beings in general. I mean, I'm a member of a species that I am embarrassed to be a member of, and there's just nowhere else I can go. So I will make the best of it and keep a smile on my face every single day. I will not be depressed about it. I refuse to do that. And I will do my very best to be better than my former self, which I wish all of you would do. Forget my feelings. I don't care about your feelings because I don't even care about my own. There is a bottom line. I do wish to build a legacy. I wish to have hundreds of millions of dollars because now that I am a millionaire, I am actually enjoying the freedom that comes with it. And that means I have to concern myself less and less and less about everybody's feelings and more and more and more about the logic of the numbers. So think about that.
So the thing is, also, if you look at people who are slaves to their feeling, these are the morbidly obese. These are the drug addicts. This is the result of believing that you need to feel good all of the time. That is why someone does heroin. That is why someone eats 8 cheeseburgers at night. Because they were sad and they want to make themselves feel good. And they believe that they deserve those feelings, so they do what it is that's going to get them that. These are the people who wreck their marriages because they can't stop purchasing hookers or whatever the case may be because they're just trying to feel good. Following your feelings will lead you directly to hell, period.
I guess since you know a lot of people that watch your show who visit hookers a lot, we should probably not tell them that prostitutes are as low as $5 here in Panama. we just shouldn't. In fact, please strike that comment from the record, Your Honor. Tim, what's next?
So we view excuses as an admission of defeat. So how do you instill weaponized accountability where external factors like the economy or the government or what your partner did to you are never accepted as valid reasons for failure?
Yeah, okay, I'll start with that one there. All right. People tell me that I'm lucky that I live in Panama. I'm not lucky. I just chose to go. People will ask me, how do I go to Panama? Buy a plane ticket, get on the plane, go. It really is that simple. I'm hearing a lot of excuses from people as to why it is that they're broke and why it is that they're not doing anything to improve their lives. I hear a lot of folks tell me in consultations, I'd love to go to Panama or Colombia or Mexico or somewhere warm, but my dog, but my cat, oh, my son just bought 3 goldfish. I can't move because of the fish. Or my kid just started university. Or my parents are getting old, and so on. I made the mistake of leaving the United States in the year 2000 because I said my parents were getting old. And I realized after I got to Toronto from Chicago that I was not going to be able to make anywhere near the same amount of money. And it did not matter if I was in the same city as my parents. They were still going to age and die, which is what they did. It was a foolish move on my part. I'm not going to say I regret it, but I am going to say that it was a foolish move. It was the wrong reason. If you have a strong, solid bond with your family, and you say, I've had enough of Canada, I've had enough of Democrat-run states, I've had enough of the United Kingdom, I'm going somewhere better. If your family does not immediately say, let's go, I'm going with you, and start packing, then leave. They're of no benefit to you. They're going to hold you back. a lot of people will make excuses, and I've heard some ridiculous excuses. They're going to make excuses because it stops them from putting forward the effort needed to improve themselves. Now, as for Tim, you mentioned it was weaponizing, right? Is that the word you used? So the weaponization of excuses is what Jason just said a little bit earlier this evening. And that is TV and CBC and movies and whatnot tell you, nah, it's okay. You can stay home and play video games. You don't need to work out. You don't need to be masculine. Again, I said earlier, Spider-Man's a skinny little runt now, and you can be a skinny little runt now too. The weaponization of excuses, it's not really excuses that they've weaponized. They've just weaponized the media against everybody, so now they'll form more excuses than they normally would have. I'm asking all of you, stop watching all that crap. If you've got Netflix and Disney Plus and all that garbage, get rid of it. Do something better with your money, like take a bus ride over to the library and read a friggin' book. I wanted to just tell you all, I don't like listening to your excuses when we are doing consultations. And I'm not telling you that you're a bad person for making it, but I don't like hearing them because all of you can do the exact same thing I can. I am a middle-aged, 5'6", 204-pound guy with gray hair. What makes me so much more special than you? And nobody can ever answer that question. I know, but I'm not you. So their lives will stagnate. Excuses will stagnate you, and please do not let anybody else assist you in making excuses. Never mind, your folks don't want to move with you, leave them behind. Your kids want to stay in some left-wing university, they're adults, leave them. Just pick up and go. I left Canada with my last $900. I knew that I had to make it work. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying that I decided I'd had enough of communism in Canada. I left. You can do the exact same thing. So stop with the excuses.
So I have zero idea how much gas costs. And I have never known how much gas costs. This was when I was making money. This was when I had barely any money in my account. Because even when I was poor, I understood that the price of gas was not relevant, because me complaining about it would not change it, it would not lower it, me knowing why it was high would not make it lower. At the end of the day, I needed gas in my car, and I needed to find a way to put gas in my car. And if I didn't like that it was $5, it was still fucking $5. So what I needed was $5 for that gallon of gas. So I had to go out and find a way to do that. And that is true of absolutely all excuses in the world. It does not matter why you're not doing anything. It doesn't matter why you drink. It doesn't matter why you eat too much. It doesn't matter why you don't work hard. None of this changes what it is that you need to do. If you have something that you want to accomplish, the way to do it is the way to do it, period. And you could sit there and do your little mental masturbation and talk about all of your excuses all that you want to. You can talk about your bad childhood. You can talk about your skin color and your systemic racism and the system is doing this and the economy is bad and all of that. And none of it will matter at the end of the day, because the path is the path, and it's up to you to figure out a way to walk it. And all you doing sitting there coming up with excuses for why you can't is convincing yourself that you can't. And you will never do a single thing that you do not believe that you can do in this world. All of your excuses do is kill the belief that you need to do the hard things, to do the uncomfortable things, to do the unpleasant things. And exactly like Kevin said, the only way to do anything is to do the thing. If you want to start a business, the only way to do that is to start a business. You want to lose weight, the only way to do that is to eat less food. You want to get sober, the only way to do that is to stop drinking. You want to get in shape, the only way is to work out. You want to move somewhere, the only way to do it is to pick up and move. And none of the other shit in between matters. You can tell yourself whatever it is that you want. You can have the greatest excuse in the world for why it is that you're not doing a thing, but at the end of the day, it means absolutely nothing. None of it will alter the path. None of it will alter the steps that need to be taken. So figure out a way to take the steps, or don't, or just stay where it is that you are and maybe feel good about yourself because you've convinced yourself that you can't do anything, but nobody is going to fucking care, because at the end of the day, nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about your excuses. The world does not care. The government does not care. The universe, God, whoever, whatever it is that your beliefs are, do not care. If you want a thing, figure out a way to do the thing, and if you don't. Such is life.
I just want to add one more thing to that. I had a ridiculous conversation. It was back in 2019, where my show was kind of popular at the time, and of course the left-wing nuts out there did not like what I was saying. And I had a very bizarre conversation with this kid who was about 19 years of age. It was not really a debate, it was more of a panel, kind of like this, where this kid told me that I needed to be a better person. I need to acknowledge my white privilege, like he did. He actually said to me, I acknowledge my white privilege, which is why I don't have a job so that the other races can have their turn because of colonialism. And I had to ask him,
wait,
yeah, that's what this kid said to me. White kid, 19, in the Toronto area. All right? So, Jason, I don't think you're all that white. Let's thank this kid for giving you an opportunity to have the same job he doesn't want.
Man, I can't stand this fucking privilege. Because here's the thing: whether or not privilege is real or not, it does not matter. It does not fucking matter. Maybe life is harder if you are not a white person. Maybe life is easier if you're a white person. That's all well and fucking fine. At the end of the day, if you want to get that way, you have to go that way. And whatever obstacles are there, you need to figure out a way around it, or you do not. It doesn't matter. None of it is fucking relevant. Nobody cares.
Yeah, and that was the weirdest excuse.
That's stupid.
It was the weirdest excuse, and it was an excuse to sit at home in mommy's basement and play video games and accomplish nothing. That is the pinnacle of laziness. I told him that, and he wasn't happy with it. I got a middle finger for it.
Yeah, that's patting yourself on the back for not doing anything. You're being self-righteous about your sloth. Absolutely ridiculous.
So let's touch on the accountability part of the excuses. About holding yourself accountable. And maybe some strategies to do that.
A very good friend of mine, shortly after my kids were born, I moved my office back into my home and got a chance to spend a lot of time with my kids. Now, I'm not making an excuse. I'm telling you that I did this. No one did this for me. I stopped working out because I would work, spend an hour with my kids playing, work, hour with the kids, work. I didn't go to the gym. I didn't buy gym equipment. I just fooled around. And as you can see, I'm at 204 pounds right now. Imagine this short frame at 272 pounds. So I have a very good friend of mine that I hadn't seen in 3 years, looks at me and goes, what the hell happened to you? The Hindenburg just showed up for chicken wing night. And he was right. So I had to take accountability, saying, yeah, you know what? I haven't seen my dick in like a year. It's time for me to make a change. So I went to the gym, and in, I'd say, the better part of 9-10 months, I was able to drop 50 of those pounds. And then as you start losing weight, you can drop a lot fast, and it begins to slow down as you progress. I had a good friend who cracked that joke. He told me the truth, and I acknowledged the truth. And that's all that anybody needs to do, is acknowledge the truth being told to you. If 50 people tell you that your outfit sucks, it probably sucks. So you can change that. You don't have to cry about it. You don't go on social media and say, I was telling you people, but it was so mean, my feelings. Yeah, that's what everyone does. Stop that. Take accountability. I got fat because of me. And then I got less fat because of me. Accountability. And here I am, Tim, as you've asked, I'm taking accountability by telling all of you watching right now that I turned myself into a disgusting fat slob, and I earned myself sleep apnea, and I had to buy a size 46 pant just to get it over my gut. And, if I was gonna bang my wife at the time doggy style, I had to hire 2 guys to pick my stomach up and get it out of the way for entry. My fault, not yours. It wasn't Jason.
So Jason, when you...
Okay. No. All right, accountability. Everything in the world, everything that ever happens to you is your fault. It is the only frame of mind that is useful to anything. I do not care what it is. If you walk outside tomorrow and you get struck by lightning, that is your fault. Because the only thing in the world that you can control is what it is that you do. And you blaming other things is you giving your power away. So in the lightning scenario, you could have decided not to go outside, you could have checked the weather, you could have worn rubber shoes to ground yourself. But in all situations, you should be looking to figure out what it is that you can do to avoid it and or to improve it. And the only way to do that is by taking absolute accountability for everything that happens in your life. It will never benefit you to point the finger at anybody else for anything, no matter what. Even if it is somebody else's fault, you will be in a much better position if you believe that is your own, because that gives you the power to change it, that gives you the power to fix it. You have bad genetics, whoop-de-doo. It's still your fault that you ate too much food. Maybe what's too much food is different for you than it is for someone else. Such as life. Doesn't change the fact that you chose to order it and eat it. None of it changes. You made the decisions that got you to where it is that you are today, period.
I agree.
Okay, so this topic is the pain tolerance transfer. So if you quit under a barbell, you'll quit when the market crashes. You'll use any excuse when things become tough. So what are some of the benefits of pain, and how do you build up that tolerance?
So pain tolerance is built through pain exposure. People who have never dealt with pain will have a much lower tolerance for pain. People who have never dealt with anything difficult will have a very low bar for what it is that they consider to be difficult. This is what we were talking about before. If you can't get out of bed in the morning when your alarm goes off, then you are going to have a much more difficult time doing anything actually difficult throughout the day. If you can't go to the gym and work out and push yourself when you don't feel like it, you're going to have a much more difficult time when other difficulties arrive. So the more that you expose yourself to adversity, the more that you challenge yourself, the more that you experience difficult and uncomfortable things, the better that you will be at those things. The vast majority of things are not difficult. They are just difficult for most people because most people are not used to experiencing them. Nothing in life, quite honestly, is actually that difficult, but most people just don't participate and or experience any of these things, so they seem like the hardest thing in the world. Like 10 push-ups is a challenge to someone who has never done one, but in the overall scheme of things is very, very simple to do. So you build up these things the same way you get better at running a marathon or running, period. You run a little bit, then you run a little bit farther the next day, and you run a little bit farther the next day. Eventually, what seemed like an insurmountable distance to you will become nothing because you have conditioned yourself to do that. Everything in life is a product of conditioning, whether that be laziness, whether that be procrastination, whether that be addiction, excuse making, or the things on the other end, the positive things, the discipline, the bravery, the courage, all of these things. Everything is what it is that you have conditioned yourself to do. So intentionally exposing yourself to adversity and challenges and making it a point to get out of your comfort zone will help you in all areas.
I want to reflect on the stock market there. You are correct. If someone is willing to give up a workout halfway through one lift, then they will absolutely give up when the market shifts in any particular way. Crypto, here's a prime example. I made a phone call, actually to you, Tim. I made a phone call to you saying, hey, Tim, guess what I did today? I lost $97,000 because crypto did this. And then 2 days later, I gained 105. It goes up and it goes down. My particular mindset around cryptocurrency is I'm going to be hanging on to it for probably the rest of my life. I'll cash it in when it's retirement years. So I'm riding out the ups and the downs. But a lot of folks contacted me panicking, saying, I got to sell my crypto. I got to sell. Okay, fine. I'll buy it. It's at a much lower price. Thank you very much. When stocks go down, buy more. When crypto goes down, buy more. Everybody panics because all of you believe that if you invest, that you're going to make money. It's not how it works. If you're investing, it's a gamble. Could work, could not. Now, you can alter the odds by doing some research, a lot of research on what you're going to be investing in. Learn how the stock market works if you're planning on playing it. Learn how crypto works if you're planning on playing that market. Make the decision. Am I a day trader? That takes a lot of training. It's a lot. It is hard to do. Are you in it for the long run? That's easy to do. Buy it, sit on it, just
Don't
make sure
sell it.
Yeah. Store it on a cold storage wallet so nobody can take it from you. Don't lose your 10-word phrase. So the volatility of the market is not something that even the average person can handle. And it is sad. It's very sad that people panic the second things go wrong. That's a little bit of pain, guys. It's pain. It's ride through it, endure it. You get punched in the face. It hurts for a day. Well, with me, I took a puck in the face and my nose peeled off my face. It hurt for about a week. I'm fine now. I got my knee replaced. It hurt for 6 straight days, and it was okay. Things hurt. The knee replacement made my life better. Putting the nose back on my face, I don't know about that one, but it had to be done, and it hurt. Why do we fear things that hurt? I don't get it, guys. So maybe what we all got to do here is, honestly, have a good friend of yours give you a good punch in the gut. The week later, get another one. It's not going to hurt as much. Then do 50 sit-ups a day, build some muscle in the core, and get it done again. And then you're going to find that the third, fourth, and fifth punch do not hurt as much. I boxed when I was in my 20s. And yeah, you know what, guys? It sucks to get knocked out cold. It does. However, I also can knock somebody out cold, and the only way for me to have learned that was to get knocked out cold. You cannot learn anything without pain. So please, before you invest, educate yourself and decide which way you're going to go. But for the love of God, don't panic. We talked earlier about having a deadpan facial expression. Your deadpan facial expression should also be the emotional state when you're looking at these things. Stop quitting just because it gets tough.
Also, just to add on to that, the mindset that people have around pain also holds them back. But if you take a look at life, right? Like you go work out, you get sore, and that is because you tore your muscles, and that is how they are growing. If you are trying to lose weight, you are going to be hungry. That discomfort means that you are getting to your goal. When your baby teeth come in, it hurts, but this is how you get the teeth that you're going to have for the remainder of your life. When women are pregnant, that is very painful, but that is where life comes from. Like pain equals growth. It is not something to be avoided.
Yeah, and I've seen births up close. So ladies out there, thank you for enduring that. It really does look like it hurts. It's worth it though.
Okay, so next topic is more of a, well, it's a global thing. It's literally the topic. The global mindset. And so why is staying local a death sentence for wealth? So walk us through the Panama Protocol mindset and why we must stop letting our local governments dictate our financial well-being.
Tell you what, I'll take that one. When I moved to the United States back in 1996, I worked for Hewlett-Packard, and my direct supervisor, sweet lady, she was in the town of Ogden, Utah, so she was a pretty hardcore Mormon, and had never left the city proper. That's right, she actually never had been outside of the city of Ogden. So her worldview was absolutely null and void. She was a scheduling manager, not even a supervisor. Best salary she could do was about $40,000 a year. And that's all she wanted. She was very happy with that. Staying put stagnated her. I'm pretty sure she's in the same boat as she was back then. You need to move on to not necessarily greener pastures, but tougher places to go. You got to go where it's meaner, faster pace. If you want to grow and make more money, you got to get out of where it's broke. Now take me with communist Canada, and yes, it is a communist dump, everybody. I had over 75 criminal charges placed against me so the government could try to get me to stop talking. And then when they realized that I had lost the election, they dropped them all because it no longer mattered. They had no more reason to try to humiliate me. But what the judges did, because the judges didn't like how loud I am, is stagnated me with court orders. I could not leave the province of Alberta. I was not allowed by court order to have a job. They said that I had to mandatorily be on welfare at $950 a month, which sucked because my rent was $1,000 a month, which sucked also because I had to become an indentured servant. Yeah, that's right, I had to clean the kitchen, I had to cut the grass, I had to do all these tasks to make up for that $50 shortfall, and then go to food banks to be able to feed myself, because the government did not like me speaking. I was treated terribly there, so what did I do? I left. I left all that crapola behind, and I came to Panama, which is a homogenous society, which is a growing country, nowhere near the third world country any of you think that it is. And in a Christian country that is growing, that share my particular values and viewpoints, I can accelerate and I can grow. And I have. I'm not telling all of you that you absolutely have to come to Panama. It's not the only successful country in the world. But I am going to state to you, if your life has stagnated, if your country is garbage and there's no jobs and you're taxed to death, it's time to go. We talked earlier about excuses. Don't make excuses to stay in a place where you're broke and miserable. You have to go where there's a possibility of being treated better and or best. That takes research. It takes just a little bit of guts to get on the plane and go.
Facts. And I would just add to that the idea of patriotism, is one of the biggest psyops in the world. There is not a single country that gives a single fuck about you. So keep that in mind and do with that what you will.
Yeah, true. Canada doesn't care about you. The United States does not care about you, the individual citizen. However, there is one thing I can say about patriotism, and that is it works as not necessarily a control, but as an addition to the homogenization of a society that has decided that it wants one culture. They will adopt patriotism to keep that culture going. That is what Panama has done. But it doesn't mean that the Panamanian government cares about the individual Panamanian citizen.
Not at all.
It means that the individual Panamanian citizen cares about their country. That's the difference. And right now, at this exact time in 2025, it's working incredibly well for the country and its citizens. And the gringos that show up here.
Okay, so this topic is something that a lot of people are scared to take risks. So talk about risk-taking and explain some of the pitfalls, but more importantly, the benefits of risk-taking and how, if you're always scared of things, you'll always play small.
I'll let Jason take this one first.
I feel like somebody asked a very similar question earlier, but I mean, my answer is quite honestly the same as the one that I gave earlier. Like, everything worthwhile is going to require some degree of risk. There is no such thing as a safe path that's going to get you anywhere that you want to be. What everyone does currently is what they believe to be the safe path, and the vast majority of people are broke and hate their lives, and they live in houses that they don't care about, and drive cars that they would rather have better ones, and even have spouses that they wish were more attractive and pleasant to be around. That's what you get for playing it safe. That's what you get for not taking any risks.
When you risk nothing, you will have nothing. I was never really a Wayne Gretzky fan, but I do like what he said. 100% of the shots you don't take don't go in. Never in, never win. There's all kinds of idioms out there that I could utter for the next hour, but that's pointless. I want to tell you that the greater the risk, the greater the reward. There's going to be failure attached to risks. You're going to get stolen from by bad people. That's a risk. You're going to lose lovers to richer men. It's a risk. Everything you do is a risk. Without risk, you don't grow. When you don't grow, you don't gain wealth, you don't meet better people, you don't find that better spouse or that better car that you're looking for. By all means, all you out there who think that playing it safe is good, keep doing it. Watch me and Jason get incredibly wealthy in the public view, which obviously as public figures we do, and sit down on social media watching us, hating us for doing so. You don't hate us because we're successful. You actually hate yourself because you're not. You need to start taking more risks, everyone. Life is freaking short. I've only got about 30 years left in my lifespan. I recognize that. I am well past the halfway mark. I need to take a lot more risks, not fewer risks, if I want to be able to build the legacy that I want to build. And so do you.
Yeah, if there's no possibility that you'll lose, then there's no possibility that you'll win.
Perfectly said.
So this one's about the dad bod fallacy. I mean, that's for women too. It's treated as a badge of honor, and people make excuses about it. But why do you classify this as a dereliction of duty? And what do you say to the man who claims he's too busy providing the train?
Okay. All right. Let me take that one. At 5'6", I should not be 204 pounds. I shouldn't be. Even though currently I do go to the gym and I am bench pressing my own body weight plus 75 pounds. I'm leg pressing 800 pounds. I'm not doing what Jason alluded to earlier and being a little bit more disciplined and adding the running and the cardio to it. It's a choice I made. I've also gotten used to the idea that if I put a 14-hour day in front of my laptop, I will make a boatload of money, and I like doing it. So I chose money and lifting weights. Those are the two choices I made. I did not yet choose the running or the biking or the rollerblading part of it, so that is entirely on me, which means right now, yes, I've got a boatload of muscle, but I've also got a little bit of that dad bod thing going on. It's not good. I'm telling you right now, it's not good. All right? I can't put a belt on right now because there's a bit too much gut there. My fault. I still get a little bit of what we'll call it choking at night because you see right here, guys, I got that little bit of turkey neck going on there. So sometimes my tongue will push against my throat and I'll go and wake up. So I'm denying myself a better night's sleep because I don't include cardio in my day. I will, but I haven't yet. It's on me. Dad bods are not good. They're not as healthy as fit bods are. That is fact. You're not going to change my mind on that. And you're not going to change the reality of it being reality just because you're upset about being called a guy with a dad bod. Too bad. Run.
Calling man breasts and a protruding belly a dad bod is ironic because you look like a pregnant bitch walking around like that. But the thing is, at the end of the day, you have a duty to be strong, you have a duty to be capable, you have a duty to be disciplined and take care of yourself and set a good example for the people around you. And the dad bod is just a pretty name put on your shortcomings. There's nothing good about this. There is nothing desirable or noble about the fact that you didn't do shit and you look like it. Like, you're supposed to be a product of hard work and discipline, and that is what being in shape is. A dad bod is the exact opposite of that. It's the glorification of mediocrity and failure, and this is what it is that we have been talking about. Society pushes all of this bullshit. They have all of these stupid ass little studies that say women prefer a dad bod. No, the fuck they don't. I have been out of shape and I have had abs, and women prefer the latter. This is a fucking lie. All of them will sit there and all of them who tell you otherwise are just coping because they do not believe that they can do better. This is absolute bullshit.
I'll say one thing though on the abs. I've had abs once in my life, back in my early 20s. If you take your lady to the gym and they're watching you lift the amount of weight that I lift, and they like it, guys. They go, ooh, trust me. I'd still rather have abs, so it's going to be entirely on me to not make any excuses and get on the treadmill and go run. Guys, it's entirely on me. Jason's right. Chicks don't dig fat guys, and even me as a slightly chunky guy myself, I still will not date chunky chicks. I like my women flat stomachs, big, beautiful Spanish ass, gorgeous face, fit. I love that. I will not settle for less. I will not be Mr. Bracco.
Why don't you guys each describe what that means to you and the traits that go along with that? Like, what are we actually trying to get people to emulate here? So just describe masculinity and the traits.
You got to be strong physically. You got to be strong emotionally. As men, if you want to be a true masculine man, you have to accept the fact that nobody gives a shit about you. You are the one that cares about you. You have to be your own biggest fan. Because a lot of times, guys, you'll find that women want stability. So they care more about the resources you can provide than you, the actual individual. It's a fact. I've been wealthy a couple times in life, not rich, but wealthy, and women had all the respect in the world for me. I'd lose the big job and they would just disappear. I had to accept that that's just the reality of the species. That's biology, by the way. Women will always look for the victor and side with him. So as a masculine man, I have to identify the fact that it's only me that cares about me, and I will make sure that I am the strongest, fittest, smartest, wealthiest, richest that I can possibly be. But as a man, there's also duties that come with this. When I got married, it was like 25 years ago, I knocked her up. I brought 2 children into the world. As a masculine man, it was my job to protect them, entertain them, educate them, and make sure that they had a warm place to stay, clothing on their back, food in their bellies. That's entirely up to me. I created those two lives. It would be wrong of me, it would be loserish of me to not have dealt with that. And I wasn't getting along with my ex-wife at the time at all. In fact, I was quite cranky and miserable during that time. As a man, I endured it because of my duty to those kids that I had created. When I got divorced, this is about 4.5, almost 5 years ago, I had a duty to ensure that my children, even though they were entering into adulthood, had a stable place to live. So I made a deal with the ex. I just bought her a house. Here's a house. The kids live in it. I put the house into a corporation. I wrote all the bylaws for it. So I even wrote down who feeds the dog, who feeds the cat, who cuts the grass, who gets the best parking spot on that property. My duty was complete for that particular era in my life. And I have zero regrets about parting with $500,000 to make sure that those three individuals had a stable house to live in. In fact, I feel very good about what I did. Now, as a hyper-masculine man, it's my duty to continue to be as healthy as I can and make as much money as I can and teach my children everything that I know as quickly as I can so that they can carry on everything that I have learned. And do this. I do feel it's my duty, seeing the fact that our society, our entire Western world society, is collapsing, to try to make sure that there is some ember, some semblance of masculinity that still exists within it and help it grow so we can get back what we lost.
So I like to keep things simple. My definition of masculinity is the pursuit of strength, and that is not just physical. That is in all avenues. It takes strength to develop and stand for your morals. It takes strength to protect and to provide, to be honorable, to be trustworthy, to stick to your duty, to do the things that you are supposed to do. All of these are a result of being strong and rejecting weakness and making sure that you do everything that you need to do. All of that comes from pursuing strength and making sure that you are the strongest version of yourself that you could possibly be, and putting that out into the world and giving that to the people who it is your responsibility to give that to make sure are benefiting from that.
So we're talking about, masculinity, and we talked a lot about mental attitude and everything kind of surrounding the whole topic. Let's focus in more on certain aspects of masculinity, and you were talking about a similar trait, but talk about assertiveness, both being in your personal environment and in business.
So a lot of people are very afraid to stand up for what it is that they believe in, or say something and then stand by it, because again, as we were talking about earlier, they are not good at dealing with any degree of confrontation or challenges because they lack strength. So they just go with whatever it is that they are told. They do whatever it is that they are told to do. You see a lot of grown-ass men who are afraid to tell people no. You see a lot of grown-ass men who are afraid to defend their own ideas and beliefs, so they just go along with the flow. And that is a huge detriment, once again, to society, to everybody that you give a fuck about. Because if you cannot stand up for what it is that you believe in, then in all honesty, you don't believe in shit. And there is no point of you if you do not have your own beliefs, if you do not have your own morals, if you do not have your own values. That is how you devolve into what it is that we are today, where there's a bunch of dudes running around calling men women because that's what it is that makes them feel good.
If you're going to be a pushover, if you're going to be the guy, the quiet one in the room, that does not make you a polite Sigma male. You can get that nonsense out of your head. It just makes you a beta cuck, is what it makes you. If you're not going to be assertive, then you're going to lose for the rest of your life. In order for you to make some kind of a point that the outside world could benefit from, you have to risk being offensive. You have to risk not being liked. You have to risk having your mother-in-law, thank God, walk out the door because she doesn't like what you're saying. Too bad. If you're never going to pipe up, your ideas are never going to be heard. And there are a lot of quiet guys out there who do have good ideas, but the world will never know because they chose never to speak up. You are going to be mocked for probably 90% of the things that you say. You're going to be mocked for your beliefs. You're going to be mocked for the way you run or lift weights. There are people that film each other in gymnasiums saying, ha ha, look at this loser, he can only arm curl 40 pounds. It's going to happen. As men, we have to ignore all of that nonsense and carry on. And take it further into the corporate world, take it further into your own personal life. There's something out there, it's called charisma and presence. You can figure it out, but you got to practice. You got to walk into a room like you own it. So many of you out there, like I see men, they're walking over hunched like this. 2 reasons. You don't work out your glutes, so you got nothing holding you up. And the other part of it is you have no self-confidence. You're looking at the floor. And there are cultures out there that teach you to look at the floor. You should not be looking at the floor. You got to get those shoulder blades back, puff the chest up, and walk in the room as if you own it. You have got to be the first one to walk over to everybody. How are you? KevinJJohnston, shake hands. You got to get the web of your hand right here into the webbing of the other guy's hand, and you got to grab that thing like you own that thing, and then not be the first one to let go. Look the guy in the eye when you're doing it. Some guys shake hands. Look, where the hell are you looking? Who are you looking at? Why bother introducing yourself if you're not going to look the man in the eye? Assertiveness will earn you respect. Staring at the floor will earn you slavery.
Facts.
So the next word is independence.
I'm a strong, independent woman. I don't need no man. Is that what you're talking about?
Male independence.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, guys. Jason, you got this.
So, if you cannot take care of yourself, if you cannot protect and provide for your own self, then there is absolutely no point to you. And what we have a lot of people nowadays is extreme entitlement, that they should be making more money and the government should be making them a way to do it, or they should take all of the rich people's money and distribute it amongst the population and the lazy people, because it's unfair that they can buy nice clothes and they can barely afford to pay gas or whatever the fucking case may be. But at the end of the day, the only person who is going to make sure that your life is good is you. And if you're not going to do that, then you are going to be asked out forever. If you are not able to protect yourself, nobody is going to be able to protect you. If you are not able to do for self, nobody is going to do shit for you, period.
To all the young men out there, it's sad that there's so many 20-year-old males that don't know how to tie a necktie. Learn. It's free. They don't teach it in school. In school, they'll teach you that you're a girl. But on YouTube or any other platform out there are guys out there that'll teach you all the different ways to tie a tie. And the Windsor knot is a complicated one. I don't like doing it. And sometimes I even got to watch the video to remind myself. But that is the level of independence Jason's talking about. You've got to be able to wash your clothes, do your own dishes, wipe your own ass.
Make your own food.
There you go. You have to do all of these things on your own. For the young men out there, let me tell you guys this right now. If you don't know how to do your own laundry, or wipe your own ass, or put away your shoes, or fold your laundry, and you bring some chick to your place, she's going to look around, laugh, and leave. All right? You'll be a virgin for the rest of your life. As men, you need to be as independent as possible. You need all the basic life skills that are required for you to navigate society. If you want to specialize in something, great. Go to it. But you still need all the basics. And if you're trying to court women, guys, I know like we as men, we go to a bar and we're very happy to play poker or just sit around and have a good conversation. But if you want to mate, well, you got to learn how to dance. Because you know how chicks are, right? In bars, come on, you come and dance with me, eh? They can't do it. They suck at it. They're annoying. But learn these skills. If you don't have the patience to learn an instrument to be independent and improve your own life, then learn how to sing. Learn how to do something really, really well so that you are independent of the average. You don't just want to be independent in your personal life. You'd like to be independent of society, so that you can survive on your own at any time. And the only way to do that is have more skills than the average. And like Jason said, that's entirely up to you.
1,000%.
So next topic is fairness. So I call it the fallacy of fairness. You know, Dennis Leary said it best, life sucks, we're at home.
Life Isn't Fair show's over. Good night.
Facts.
That's it. What would you like me to tell? What would anyone like me to tell you about fairness? There is no such thing. No matter how fair you try to make a hockey team to balance it out between two teams, there's always going to be a better one. No matter how fair you want to be with how much field time your soccer players get, someone's going to get more. It's not fair. Oh, well. You know, you're going to be mistreated. I was mistreated by my government. Okay, it ain't fair. I learned how the court system worked. I smiled about it. I got happy when I found that I pissed off a judge just by having a deadpan expression on my face. It wasn't fair to be dragged into the courts, but that's the reality of life. I turned it into a commercial for myself because, like I said, 500,000 people watched that court case like it was some kind of O.J. Simpson trial. It was nuts. Wasn't fair? I don't care. And you know what, guys? It's not fair that Jason's taller than me. He's got better bone structure, right? It's not fair. Do you care that it's not fair? I can tell you this, I don't. It ain't fair. So what? Suck it up, Buttercup.
So I share that perspective. I also have a different perspective. I think that the concept of fairness is for entitled and unaccountable people because I think at the end of the day, life is extremely fair in that it will give you exactly what it is that you put into it. If somebody has more money than you, it's because they worked harder than you, and that is fair. If somebody is in better shape than you, it's because they worked harder than you, and that is fair. If somebody is in a better position than you, it is because they have put themselves there, and that is fair. Even if they didn't do it, their parents worked harder than your parents, and that's where you wound up. That is fucking fair. And if you don't like it, do something to change it, because whining about it isn't going to do a motherfucking thing. Nobody gives a shit how you feel about what's going on.
Remember, guys, we are men. We are not little girls. It does not matter that life is not fair, or it doesn't matter that somebody else has more fairness than you because of that extra effort they put in. What are you waiting for?
Go do something.
Get started.
So next word is protectiveness, and that is as in the protection of your family.
In protectiveness, the only thing that I would ever protect with my own life would be my family. I mean, they're my next of kin. They're the genetic line that'll carry on these good looks into the future somewhere. Yeah, of course, I'm going to protect them every which way I can. It's a responsibility and it's a duty. And yes, I am the guy that always answers yes. I would destroy every living creature on the planet to protect my children. And I don't want to know a man who doesn't think that exact way.
Yeah, 1,000%. There's not a great deal to add to that. If you would destroy the whole entire world to protect the shit that you care about, then there's no point to you.
You're nothing. You're an empty shell.
Period. And also, this goes back to the dad bod thing. The fuck are you going to protect with your man breasts?
Well, you could wear your wife's bra and protect it some way. That's about it, though.
I would actually argue that that's just you fucking it up.
Stretching it.
So last topic is, again, like staying with that physical standard part and the body as a resume. So talk about that, Jason, your body as a resume, the first point of your negotiation.
Yeah, so this goes back kind of again to what we were talking about the aesthetic thing. I don't remember the particular wording of it, but how you show up and how it is that you look is very important, and this says a lot about you. If you are somebody who is in shape, if you are somebody who is put together, that shows that you have discipline, that shows that you are a hard worker, and that shows as a whole that you can be trusted with doing shit because you are not somebody who is just running around doing whatever the fuck it is that feels good. Like there are people who show up 400 pounds to motherfucking business meetings. It's like, you can't even not drive through the drive-through. Why would I trust you with any of my money? This is absolute insanity. You lose to burgers every single day. You can get the fuck out of here thinking that I'm going to trust you to do anything worthwhile in life. You choose pizza over your health. Insanity.
The outward presentation that you're going to make does tell everybody around you how serious or unserious you are. If I feel like being taken seriously as a surfer, then I'm showing up in a bathing suit that goes down to 1 inch above the knee. Sure, I might be taken seriously, I might not. I might even learn the lingo like, dude, maybe. But if I'm wanting to impress millionaires or billionaires, I have to splurge. I can't just buy a suit off the rack at some used clothing shop. I have to go and get a custom fit job done. Put the best suit on, get the haircut done, maybe even talk to the hairdresser. Like I'm trying to impress a guy who's potentially going to hand me $17 million. What's the best hair care product for me to put in my hair for the next 2 weeks to walk in there and look like I know everything about everything? I certainly am not going to hand $1 million over to someone who shows up saying, I can be your website coder, and you can within. And he's got blue hair and piercing, and a piercing here that he's complaining about. He just got done yesterday, and he's wearing a white t-shirt with ketchup stains on it. I'm going to tell him, get the fuck out of my building. Turn around and leave. I wouldn't even waste 5 seconds talking to an individual like that. And as for the ladies out there, I know that this is not about women, it's about men, but the fat chicks have absolutely no chance with me whatsoever. The fat chicks will not be taken seriously by me when they're applying for a position that requires good judgment. If you're 200 pounds overweight, you do not have good judgment. Much like I would not hire men who walk in looking like slobs, or some guy that says, hey, hey, you want to do a couple of lines? You're going to talk to me about drugs in my building and I'm going to take you seriously? Or a guy who shows up drunk? Or a guy who shows up talking about chicks? If you're going to come in to try to sell me something, then first, you better look the part, and secondly, you better know what you're talking about. So it's your outward appearance with your clothing, your hair, the clean shavenness, whatever you need to do to look clean and neat and tidy for someone who expects clean and neat and tidy. That's what you need to do. And if I was going to try to sell something to a bunch of slobs, I'd probably go in there, having done my research, dressed similar to them to try to fit in. It's not lying, it's acting. But if you want to be with the rich, you cannot be a slovenly pig. That is a fact.
And one last thing in relation to the body thing. It is also the one thing in the world that you cannot purchase or cheat your way into. It is only a product of hard work. And when you show up put together, in shape, muscular, lean, then everybody knows that you are at the very least, if nothing else, willing to work hard. And that is respectable everywhere that you go. There's not a single culture or person in the world who does not respect and understand hard work.
Well, just to add that last little bit to what Jason said, is how often as heterosexual men do we see a guy who's totally jacked and tell him, dude, you look great, how much do you bench? Right? It's a bit of envy, it's a little bit of being impressed, but you certainly would look at a guy who's completely jacked, who can bench press 4 times his own body weight as something to be admired. You would take an individual like that seriously. People will go, whoa, when a good-looking dude shows up in the room fit and dressed to kill. Take advice? Don't take the advice. It's entirely up to you. Here's hoping that you've learned something tonight, folks. Jason, we're out of time. And I want to thank you again for jumping on a plane and hanging around Houston Airport for way too long to fly here to Panama City to be able to talk to Panamanians, Americans, Canadians, and Brits who decided to make the trip as well. Jason, please tell everybody who you are and how they can find you.
Again, I very much appreciate the invite, my friend. I am Jason Lamar. You can find me, the Jason Lamar, on everything, and come listen to me tell you a bunch of shit that you do not want to hear, but will, in fact, improve your life if you're not too much of a bitch to listen.
And my name is KevinJJohnston, Canada's biggest mouth. As you can see here, the shit-eating grin just never leaves my face. The Canadian government tried to make an example of me by locking me up for 7 months in solitary confinement, forcing me to wear jumpsuits, slandering me on every single piece of news that you can find. If you look my name up on Google, you will see arrested. Guys, they tried to break my spirit, and I'm still smiling, and I'm still absolutely loving life. And I love the fact that I've got an opportunity to meet Jason here, who's got tons of followers all over the world and is admired by those who admire something better than themselves. And Jason, God bless you for being here, man. I've had a great time tonight. Thank you, everybody. If you want to get a hold of me, you can do so on my TikTok channel, which is Real Kevin J. Johnston, or hit me up at KevinJJohnston.com. We have now concluded our first introductory meeting here with the Man's Table. The Man's Table is going to have us doing a lot of international speaking about masculinity and how men can man up and make the world better. Thank you for being here. I love you all, and good night.